to the Death Battle cast.
Hello.
We are the cast and crew of Death Battle and so much more, because there's a very special finale coming up soon. But hey, I'm Ben. I'm the voice of Wiz, joined by, of course, Chad, voice of Boomstick.
Hi, that's me.
Hey, Chad. Liam Swan, the voice of Liam Swan.
Yep, that's me, and that's
also,
the only thing I do.
Yeah, the writer and director for this upcoming episode of Death Battle.
Oh my god, it's finally
Directorial
happening.
Debut, Liam.
Yeah, it's crazy. I realized I was like, right, it's my episode next. Awesome.
Yeah,
no pressure.
I'm so excited for everybody to see what you've been working on. It's a really cool episode. There's some really cool stuff in the fight, especially. It's going to be great. But we are joined by the wonderful Eddy Rivas.
That's
Hello,
me.
Eddie. It's you.
That's me.
Who is the... If you don't know who he is, where have you been? Because he's basically like writing supervisor, super lore master of...
Yes, Keeper of Lore is my favorite of his titles.
Keeper of
Yes.
Lore. I believe Jeff Yetter changed my title on a RWBY panel, or on a panel at RTX, to Lore Daddy, which I was not a fan of, but
Really? Man.
it was funny.
Or Papa.
I mean, that would be pretty cool to have on your business card. Maybe not.
Yeah.
My LinkedIn account, Lore Daddy.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I don't know if people would
Conversation
contact
starter.
you after that.
Yeah, I don't know about
that. Guy was really nice.
Well,
You look
some
down,
people would
Lord
contact
Daddy
you.
of RWBY. That doesn't seem official. Is this going to a Tumblr? Like, sorry.
There would definitely be some people
my
who would
OnlyFans
contact
account.
you. Yeah.
God.
But RWBY Volume 8 is coming to a close pretty soon. This freaking weekend.
Yeah, we've got the finale on Saturday for first members, and chapter 13, the penultimate episode, goes public this weekend. So please, no spoilers in the chat if you've seen chapter 13 and you're wanting to go nuts about some stuff that happened in that episode. Yeah, the season is going to be wrapping up this Saturday, and it's probably our biggest volume in terms of scope, runtime, all those things. It's going to be pretty neat is the only word I will use.
It's going to be pretty neat.
Well, we obviously can't spoil anything, but like, man, you're talking about the volume in terms of, or the volume of the volume. Like every episode's been over 15 minutes, right? Is there any episode that's been under that?
No, I don't think so. I'd have to go back and double check, but I want to say, I mean, generally we aim for 15 minutes, just because, right? Like I can get into all kinds of weird production stuff, right? But we know how much the show costs, and we know how much it costs per minute. And so 15-minute episodes is about what we try to aim for. But every episode, this volume has been a little bit chunkier than that. And we've got 14 episodes. Yeah, more episodes than we've had, except for volume 5 had 14, I think. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely the biggest in terms of runtime, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we've been there with Death Battle. Like, let's make sure we keep it this long, especially in the past.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that people, that people don't understand about like production writing, right? Like you have to, if you're creating something within a certain budget, it's your job to stay in that zone, or people get upset with you that have to actually that have to pay for it and have to actually make it.
Yeah. When your death battles start consistently going over 20 minutes, they start to become a little tricky.
It's tough when like each character's wiki page has like 300 entries of weird anime bullshit. So it's like you have to be very selective about what anime bullshit you want to include.
Yeah.
What's the relevant anime bullshit, and what anime bullshit can you kind of just, toss to the side and go, whatever. We'll tap
How many times when you guys are like kind of getting Death Battle going, and do you have to like adjust locations? Like, no, can we set this out in like an empty field instead of like destroying a whole city?
Oh no! Okay,
so that someone could actually make all this happen in a reasonable amount of time.
When we got into 3D, and this is pre-Rooster Teeth, this is important. This is back when we were like, every cent has to stretch as far as possible. We bought a city. A 3D city, and it was specifically, we were like, we had to justify it. We're like, okay, listen, we can probably do like 4 or more fights here. Like this can be a fight like right here in these buildings. It's got a river. We can have Godzilla and Gamera fight in that. Like, and then we're like there's a bridge.
It was specifically,
that's where we could put Deadpool. Like, so
it was specifically when Torian was first joining.
Yes.
We had just found Torian, and we were talking. We were working together, and I was like, we were like, okay, we have budget for one set for 4 fights. So I had to find Torian and I worked together to find a city set that had 4 different locations: a bridge over a river, like a downtown city street area, like a crowded city, whatnot. So those first 3 or 4 Torian fights are all the same set, but they just looked great. Like, you can't tell. Well, depending, but you can't usually tell.
Oh yeah, for Volume 8, this is a little behind the scenes tidbit. I mean, we definitely, just because Volume 8 is so big in terms of like all the different places we're going, and we've got these big kind of like battle scenes and fight scenes and stuff, like production was pushing us hard. Like, can you please have one episode that just happens all in the same place? Like, please.
Bottle episode.
Like, can we get as close as we can to a bottle episode at some point? They were begging for that, and we were able to accommodate that for one of our episodes.
Everyone loves
that
a
was
bottle episode.
Yeah,
and every season of every show needs a bottle episode.
They're my favorites, honestly.
When
Breaking Bad to Fly is like the best.
Yeah, when characters get to fight in space, great.
There's no set, no problem.
Exactly.
All right. Well, speaking of anime bullshit, we've got a matchup to jump into. So last week we pit the Scarlet Witch against Jean Grey, the Phoenix, and everything promptly exploded because
Chat knew
of course it did. This week we are coming back down to street level for a street fight, if you will, between Chun-Li and Mercury Black of RWBY. the kicking
kick.
Oh my god, does he have
squad.
silver eyes?
No,
Sorry,
don't start that. Don't start that.
Surprise! He said his silver eyes all along. We're just faking it.
This is our leggy kick battle.
Yeah.
Yes. So here's how this is going to
squats.
work. Chad will be arguing for Chun-Li.
Surprise.
If you know anything about Chad, you probably predicted that. While I will be repping Mercury. Hopefully Eddie, being RWBY lore master extraordinaire, can help out and make sure that I'm getting everything right. But we'll find out.
Mercury wins. No.
Perfect. There we go.
No,
Show
come
over.
on.
Over.
All right.
See, here's the problem, Ben, and this is what you've got going for you. Not only does he work on that show, but also he likes to take stuff out on me because of what I do to him in Grim Campaign.
Well, I think it also might be a negative for me because there might be some misconceptions that I have with how powerful Mercury might be, that Eddie will come in and be like, no, actually, it's not quite that. It's not quite that fast.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Which could be a problem for me.
Because otherwise you can't let that get out, Eddie.
Allow you to make erroneous claims.
Or he won't. And we'll just upgrade RWBY, like right now in this session.
Perfect. All right. So it's Chad and I's job to convince the jury to vote for our respective character through any means necessary. The jury consists of 3 seats: Liam, Eddie, and you who are watching. We're doing something a little bit differently this time, though. We are not only going to be including your vote in the chat, we are also going to be including the vote from the Twitter poll that went up earlier this week. So technically, you guys get to vote twice, which will be interesting. So if you already voted on that poll and you're watching this live on Wednesday, maybe give it a little bit, see what we have to say, and then vote later to see maybe your vote's going to change. But this isn't a courtroom. We're all part of the conversation. So chime in at any time you want in the chat. That goes for you two, Liam and Eddie. And we'll see how this goes. I want to know what you all think. So let's begin.
CSL
statements
with the CSL Murmasa says leggy kick fight.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the title of this episode.
Or it'd be
Chad, do you want to go
thick
first?
thighs saves lives. That would be.
Do you want me to go first? I can do it.
Go ahead. Let's see what you got, Chad James.
All right, now you may be thinking, waiting for that timer to tick down, that Chun-Li, the self-proclaimed strongest woman on Earth, strongest woman in the world, is just, like a street fighter and police officer. Now she might do some impressive stuff and have a little bit of the ability to tap into her ki. But I could say that as long as I've been a Street Fighter fan, and we've even done an episode on her before, some of the stuff that I have dug up that she is capable of is insane. Namely, and Ben, this will get your brain going, when she did the crossovers with the Darkstalkers universe. She is capable of manipulating physics with her ki incredibly strong, incredibly durable, super fast, which I have multiple evidence of. And when we get into scaling, I can tell you that some of the people that she's tangled with are on a galaxy-wide level. So I'm looking forward to this. It's gonna be a lot more than just the Street Fighter you think you know.
You're bringing in crossover shit.
I had completely forgotten about the Darkstalkers crossover. Yeah, that's a great point.
Damn it. I mean, there is a RWBY crossover coming up that's been announced. Comic book. But
we've got our Justice League. Yeah, it's not out yet. We've got our Justice League comic book crossover that's coming out, and there would be some scaling kind of comparisons we can do there, but it's not out.
So it's really funny. Did you see in the all hands? Because we were talking about that today in the all hands, and I was like, I need to know if this is canon, though, and no one answered me. Because I was just like, because my death battle brain in me is just that's exactly what I thought of. Was like the scaling, you're like, yeah, that's canon.
It's like it's like a sickness. We can't not think of it that way.
It's like, we've said
it's
that
depressing. Genuinely.
Yeah, it's like because we've said we're going to do RWBY in death battle eventually. And so then that's all I could think of. I was just like, oh my god, like if this is gonna be like canon, just thinking of that universe, right? Like it broke me.
Was it Darkstalkers? Is that canon? The Street Fighter?
Yes.
Wow.
Is it Capcom multiverse?
Oh, that's right.
It's one of those stories where they get ported into. So it's a whole thing. Like Morgan goes into Earth, and they end up going over into the Darkstalkers universe anyway.
And it's brought back in the Mega Man Sonic crossover too. They reestablished the Capcom multiverse because a bunch of other Capcom characters come into fight.
Okay, this is jumping into really.
I gotta do my own thing.
Paper, scissors, rock.
All right. Let's go. Give me 60 seconds on the clock. All right. I know a bunch of you are already voting for Chun-Li because you think this is a stomp and she's so much more powerful. Blah blah blah. But give me a bit to convince you otherwise. Chun-Li's gonna have more attack power. I already know that. But that's all that's going for her. In fact, I have 3 points. 3 points that I want to make about Mercury Black. And when all 3 are said and done, you will have changed your mind and vote for the Speedy Silver Fox. So first, Mercury Black is way faster than Chun-Li. Chun-Li, supersonic at best. And I don't think you can even try scaling her to like Akuma and Ryu. Like that's a whole nother tier for her. That's just not going to work. But Mercury is many times faster, beyond hypersonic. Hell, all the RWBY girls could casually block bullets in the very first volume, and Merc trounced all of them, even Pyrrha, and everybody else he fought in Volume 3. And right after that, Blake and Sun casually dodged lightning from the Sea Fei Long. Even if you use ladder speed, that's nearly 300 times faster than sound. Like, Chun-Li may be stronger, but how's she going to win if she can't catch Mercury? It's not going to happen.
Damn.
Quick interlude. Calling all crew members, the ship is preparing for takeoff. Keep an eye out for asteroids and black holes because Olin Rogers' animated space adventure has returned. That's right. This episode of Death Battlecast is sponsored by Final Space Season 3. Final Space is back with new episodes coming in for a smooth landing on Saturdays at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, only on Adult Swim. Season 3 picks up right where things left off, bringing unexpected twists and turns as Gary and the crew enter Final Space to rescue Quinn. After discovering that they are now trapped in Final Space, womp womp, the stakes get even higher as the crew must do whatever it takes to survive and desperately find a way home. The fate of the galaxy hangs in the balance. With Invictus and the Lord Commander hellbent on total annihilation and capturing Mooncake, yes, Mooncake, to harness his immense power, Gary and the crew's only hope is to team up with Earth's sole survivor. Will the crew be able to escape Final Space? Will Gary and Quinn pull off their daring rescue attempt to save Avocado, yes, Avocado, from the Lord Commander's clutches? Will the sudden appearance of a gigantic black hole be the end of the team squad? Probably, but I know what I'm doing with my Saturday nights. I'll be comfy on my couch watching new episodes of Final Space. Remember, that's 10:30 p.m. Eastern on Saturdays, only on Adult Swim. And if you're not caught up, there's only like 24 episodes. Binging anime is harder than this, and I know you do that all the time. So, stream seasons 1 and 2 of Final Space on HBO Max now or at the link in the description. And with that, let's get back to the show. That's just 1 point. I got 2 more bitches.
You got 2 more.
I really like the presentation quality. I mean, I know that's not relevant to who wins this match, but I liked the vibe of both of you guys. I'm really Yeah.
So what we strive to do here on
argumentation,
Death
So it's
guys.
interesting because I looked into Mercury as well just a little bit because it's Chun-Li, so I really want to win this one. And honestly, it seems to be that they're about equal in speed.
Whoa.
Chun-Li's been shown in the Udon comics capable of she's dodging gunfire while running at the person shooting at her, and then does their like overhead flip kick and smacks the ever living shit out of him. She's also shown to like back this up. She jumped onto a rope, swung through a window of a cable car, kicked a guy across it out the window, and she's not like next to him, and manages to still catch him by the wrist on the other side to prevent him from falling and dying. She's also capable of dodging Guile's attacks that are stated to be supersonic. She's also capable of
I said, she's supersonic, not hypersonic.
Okay. But the lightning...
Supersonic is Mach 1 to 5.
Mhm.
That's supersonic.
Right.
After that's hypersonic.
Mhm.
Chun-Li may be a bullet timer, sure. But like, again, the RWBY girls were bullet timers when they were like 14 years old.
Sure.
And Mercury could beat the crap out of them. In fact, I mean, he's got even more than just speed. Let me elaborate on this by going to our company's Holy Bible.
I do have
Here.
I do have a point of clarification about Mercury's victories that you have cited.
Yes! There you go.
I will say to say that Mercury stomped Pyrrha, bit of an overstatement. They had a fight and he forfeited that fight after observing her. I will say in terms of just like strategy and observation and kind of like fighting prowess, he's basically the only person that was able to catch what Pyrrha's semblance was, because she kept that very kind of like close to the vest, and he was able to kind of spot that in a way that nobody else was, and that was his point of forfeiting. So it's like he didn't lose to her, but he didn't necessarily win. He was just trying to study and get what he wanted to know. And with the Yang fight, there's an argument that he threw that fight as well. So just
True.
not making a declaration that argument exists for sure.
I don't know if I said stomped. If I did, I didn't mean to. I meant trounced, because he did easily disarm her, got rid of her sword, and if it hadn't been for her semblance, which we'll get to semblances in a bit, then he would have been able to knock her out.
I will say that he, against like the magical maiden powers, he was able to kind of like dodge and maneuver around like lightning, so he's a very fast boy.
What's really interesting, it's so inconsistent with the rest of the show, though. Anyway,
let me wait. Hang on, I'm still reading from the Holy RWBY Bible. Hang on a second.
Go ahead.
Mercury's legs are mechanical prosthetics below the knee and end in bullet-firing boots. So he's got
Like
gun
Watch
feet.
McCloud.
All right, but that's not all. Mercury can harness the recoil of his gunshots to propel himself through the air. He can freaking fly. Chun-Li can't fly.
She kind of can, actually.
Chun-Li can't fly.
Don't tell me that the spinning bird kick is a flight move.
I'm
Chun-Li can't fly.
not even talking. Well, so that's the thing. What's really interesting about that is the way she uses her ki. That's the way she's able to pull off like the spinning bird kick. But then also it's what's it called? Hold on, I got it here.
Is that the physics breaking you mentioned?
Yeah. Where is it? Hold on. The Hosenka is the super ability she has, and I think it's Street Fighter 4. So basically she kicks the hell out of this person. They go up into the air, and then she immediately jumps upside down and basically does a vertical spinning bird kick that carries them like way higher up, and then still kicks them again afterwards. So she is able to use her ki to some weird way involving her legs, kind of manipulate gravity.
I mean, she's super, like, we're talking about superhuman people here. Of course she's going to be able to jump like 50 feet into the air, like casually.
But it's not a jump. It's really weird, and it's ki based. So like she starts like, it's not like she jumps and then does the spinning bird kick thing, right? She like literally like flips upside down after kicking them, and then starts the spin with like the blue like ki going off, and then goes like way up. It's really,
how high up can she jump? How high up can she go?
It was probably like, for that, she was, I'd say it was probably like 15 feet.
It sounds like we need to have a conversation about ki versus aura, if I'm being honest.
Well,
that'll be interesting.
let me get to my second point for Mercury then. Second point, Mercury does not have a semblance, which might sound like a problem on paper, that he doesn't have a superpower that he can use to his advantage. But actually, I think in this case, it's a blessing, because semblances draw on aura. and basically drain. It's a single power source, right, Eddie?
Yes.
That they can pull on for their semblance, but also for their force field. Which means, because Mercury doesn't have a semblance to pull on his aura, his force field or his aura is entirely devoted to his force field. So, even if Chun-Li is able to get a hit on him, he will have full defense up, like more so than most characters in RWBY ever do. The aura is going to be tough for her to break. Yes, he's min-maxing. I mean,
that's a good way of putting it.
So the aura, I think, is going to be very difficult for Chun-Li to break through, even if she is incredibly powerful in comparison to him.
Sure, except for the fact that. So I'm just going to start off with the lesser stuff, right? So her Kikoken already is capable of blasting people like way the hell away. She blasted Cammy like several feet away into 2 cars, and they all got slammed up into a building, and that was just her normal Kikoken.
She created that huge crater against Bison.
That's
too,
right. Yeah, the super
It's like
crazy
a punch.
part.
That's like a normal punch in RWBY world.
Well, what's interesting about that movie with the Kokosho is so she uses the Kokosho on Bison, but what's very interesting about that is the only thing left is Bison standing on his little crater. Everything else in this huge area seems to have been vaporized because there's no debris anywhere, and when it finishes, you see just like steam rising up.
Mhm.
So it's a pretty solid argument that she vaporized the entire area. But if you really want me to like bring out the big guns here, Ben,
Go for it.
So she's always been, she's very keen, very quick detective. She was able to look into Cammy's eyes and determine just by her eyes, even though she looked the exact same, that she wasn't Killer Bee. And then she was taught the killing intent by Gen, where she's able to determine a foe's weakness by looking at them and sensing them, and then kill them in a single touch, which she did with Bishamon. And then also the craziest thing that I came across, and I could send this to Brian so we could pull it up. Let me grab this real quick. So they're in the Darkstalkers dimension.
So hang on. She's able to
Universe.
analyze a person, and then basically, is it like a pressure point thing? What exactly is she doing to kill them in a single touch?
It's a incredibly fast dash forward. It's like one of those almost like samurai clashes.
It's like the Gen move. It's
yes,
like the Gen,
it's the Gen move, right? With the one, it's like one touch, the 2 fingers out, right?
Which is
or whatever.
very
Yeah, but what is she
interesting
doing?
because
Is she like attacking a certain part of a person?
It basically is represented in this comic instance. It's like a beam of light, pretty much.
Well, what's
What were you
really
saying, Liam?
interesting is that with Bishamon is like a possessed suit of samurai armor, right? If I'm recalling correctly, or like a zombie or something like that.
Well, so it's like basically
have
he's a samurai that then he got these relics and the sword's real bad and like hungers for souls and he has to keep doing that or it'll kill him, and yeah, it's the whole thing.
Okay. But he has armor on, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it might that whatever she's doing might work through armor. I don't know. That's a
Correct. So she
something that popped in my head.
like
Eddie,
what is
would an aura be considered a physical piece of armor?
I mean, it's in some ways it's like armor. It's a layer of protection. I think to me it also sounds like kind of what. I guess it's kind of we could try to power scale a little bit like the force of Chun-Li's kicks, because right, Mercury, like he's able to take he fights against Yatsuhashi and Koko in volume 3, and Yatsuhashi with his sword, I mean, he's one of the strongest characters. He's like making like geysers erupt when his sword hits the ground, and like huge devastating kind of like ground pound attacks with it. And that's an attack that Mercury is able to just deflect like with his legs. Mercury also is able to deflect because of his kind of mechanical legs, and his aura able to deflect swords and stuff to his shins, which is insane. So it's kind of a question of like,
Jesus.
how strong are Chun-Li's kicks in comparison to some of these other like blows that we've seen Mercury absorb to his legs.
Yeah, I mean, compared to what was it, the Kikoshin that dissolved that area?
the Kikosho?
The Kikosho. I mean, that's probably comparable to a hit that can cause geysers to erupt out of the ground. Like, that's a pretty big deal.
Are the geysers coming out of the ground? That's not like a unique ability, or it's like I touch the ground and fire comes out.
No, it's not like a unique ability. It's like
like
the
lava.
Amity, yeah, the
that's-
Amity arena
yeah.
that has all these elemental things, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but
Oh,
that's
okay.
right. See, that's the Amity Arena though. I looked at that like that. It's like it's an arena, dude. That's like stage effect. Like they had those like misters, you know? Like it's like yeah, here we go. Like
there's
those
some pyrotechnics, there's some
He
guys
smacks
there
the
on
ground,
stage.
there's a massive burst, and then the guys just come
Is
out.
there-
like it's
is
he
there-
does
yeah, the guy hit the button. It was like
A guy- oh,
they were
yeah,
like that looked cool. This fight's great.
There's like
Eddie,
pyrotechnics,
is that what it
the
is?
geysers, the geysers are contained to the arena, right? It's not like they're not. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's like it's biomes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like a
not
large area. It's
Yes.
a big
Yeah.
arena because it's like
I wasn't sure if it was like
Yeah, but that was only a
character,
section of it.
like punching the ground and then like the force of the punch reaches all the way down into like a magma pool like a mile down the other.
No.
Okay, okay.
No,
nothing
no.
like that.
doesn't quite compare to Knuckles' or those
Yeah,
volcano
but that's
feats
what I was
we do
thinking
every
of.
so often.
Also,
but it's
Eddie's,
similar.
Eddie's
It's still
favorite
similar.
thing is being put
Concept,
on the
yeah.
spot to answer a question about RWBY that hasn't been said before. He loves
Perfect.
it.
Perfect. Eddie, how does this volume end?
But anyway, so back on
VMix
the
ends.
yeah, back on the Vishamon thing. Just to throw that out because we were talking about that and stuff. His last words were, "No, I cannot be destroyed. I am as eternal as war, as eternal as violence, as eternal as," and then he dies, because Chun-Li touched him.
Guess you weren't so
So?
eternal, were you, Sweaty?
Him saying he's eternal doesn't mean he's somehow invincible.
I mean, he's been around since like feudal Japan.
Because he's a freaking
the
suit of
sword
armor.
has. Yeah.
You can break a suit of armor.
And she did.
I'm pretty dang sure Mercury's gonna be able to break a suit of old Japanese armor. Like,
Would
Well, I
would
mean,
we?
it's still up to
crusty.
some ridiculous stuff. But anyway, Brian, can you pull up that thing I sent you? So here's Chun-Li. Back on, I told you she can sense the weak points of, things. In this case, she's sensing the weak points of, quote, the universe that they're in.
okay.
And then she focuses her killing intent and explodes a hole in the goddamn universe. Oh, that's on the next panel. Brian. I don't know
no,
if you
she
can show
doesn't. She busts a hole in a mountain. It's a
Watch it.
fucking
No,
mountain.
No. She sensed the universal weak point and focused the killing intent she learned from Gen to blow an interdimensional wormhole into it. Like, you'll see if we can get the next panel. Look at that. She ripped open the fabric of this universe by focusing her killing intent.
Go?
That's not going into the mountain. That's a literal like interdimensional portal.
Correct.
I mean, it's
Okay.
in the mountain. Like, the mountain just exploded.
Yeah.
Right,
But they're not
because
going.
she
They're not
determined
going
that the
into the mountain.
Wait, you're
not going,
certain that she is creating the portal and she didn't find the portal in the mountain and break open the mountain to get
Yes.
to the portal?
It says
Good
that
point.
this is the weak point of the universe, and if I focus my killing intent, we can pull. I'll pull it up so I can read it better.
Hold on. I'm curious about the
Leave
wording
it
of
in
this.
this one.
If it's universal weak point, I have trouble believing that she means the literal universe as opposed to the universal
that's
weak
the
point
thing.
of
This
the
is how they
mountains.
get
So,
out.
okay, it's an
Like
interdimensional because
spatial.
it's like the Darkstalkers universe, the Street Fighter universe. They're going back and forth. Sure. So they give her the ability to find portals and open them up. Okay, that's fine.
The weakest
What's
point
that
of the
going to do
universe,
against Mercury?
the weakest point of this universe, I can feel it. If I channel the killing intent into its most vulnerable point, I can break through. And then she explodes it.
Sure.
Could
So
Chun-Li
she- so-
hypothetically open
Okay.
up like a spatial portal inside of Mercury's abdomen?
No,
and walk through
there would specifically have to be a weak point in the universe inside Mercury's abdomen. Well, I don't understand how this applies to this matchup at all. She finds a weak point in the universe. She can sense it because she's got the chi stuff going on, and so she busts it. Okay, that's cool.
What I'm saying
that's
is, it,
badass.
like-
How does that apply to this fight?
Because what are you talking about? She blew a hole in the universe, and you're telling me that if she can identify we've seen she can identify the weakness in people and on a universal scale. You're telling me she's not going to identify the weakness of Mercury, and not to mention that all she needs to do is one move to kill him. And
Then
that's not
how the
applicable?
hell? Then how the hell has she never killed Bison?
Big boy.
Didn't she at one point? I didn't look
Bison's
into
too
that
much for
part.
her.
I-
you
I-
just
you
killed like
just-
1,000 times. You just talked about her most powerful attack, the Kakosho, whatever it is.
No, that's not her most powerful attack. That was not. Her most powerful attack is her using the killing intent.
the most destructive attack, is the one where she evaporates like a whole crater worth of stuff, and Bison's just standing there.
Bison.
I don't think this applies to people. I like in this way. Like, sure, she could probably sense, if we want to like cross chi over with whatever, she could probably sense Mercury's chi and be like, okay, here's his weakest point. Not his shins, clearly, but somewhere else. And she's like, okay, I got it. But like, how's she gonna hit him? The dude can dodge fucking lightning, and she can't do that. And also, I got my third point. I still have to do my third point. Let me wrap this up with my argument up with my third point. You talked about how Chun-Li's like a super detective. This goes to what Eddie was saying earlier, how Mercury Black is super observant. Pyrrha successfully hid her semblance from everyone. And he figured it out in one fight. Like, he just whipped one kick and he was like, oh, I know that should not have happened, so this is what her semblance is. Done. That's it. Just
now,
like that.
He was uniquely advantaged in finding that out, right? Because his shins are metal.
Well, she didn't know that.
Yeah.
But he did.
Yeah, but she didn't grab his shins.
Well, it was more that she was able to kind of manipulate through like the mechanism, because he has metal on his boots and stuff too. Yeah. So she was able to manipulate that just very subtly. Right. So yeah, he whiffed a kick because of that.
The guns. Yeah. It's not like she was somehow like moving his legs and she's like, whoa, he's got metal legs. He also successfully hid that, because that was important for later when Yang broke his leg.
Right.
So anyway.
Hey, quick question.
No, I'm not done yet, chat.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You gotta let me finish up.
Yeah, of course.
So because he is able to figure that out in a single moment, in a fight. Remember, at this point in the series, they're lightning timers. Like, they can just do that. And he's gotten better since then. So he should be able to figure things out at a lightning level. Especially since he was able to also knock RWBY out of her semblance, which is not. It's essentially a version of a speed semblance. She's able to go faster than him, and he is observant enough to just smack that down. So there's no way that Chun-Li's ever going to be able to get even close to him, even if she's like, that's the point. If I hit that point, he dies. She's not going to be able to do it because he can see her coming, know where she's going, move away, and then the second Chun-Li makes a mistake, which she will when she misses, he just finishes her off. The end.
Well, in the Street Fighter animated series, she dodges lasers. And then also, real quick, how fast do you think...
lasers can be any speed. You got to justify that it's light speed.
Gotcha. How fast do you think she would need to be to do this? Brian? So basically, three guys are going to mug her. And Sean offers to help. And she's like, I got it. She takes her 2 bags, throws them up into the air, kicks the shit out of 3 people. And then the best part is on the next panel. It's not like you'd think she'd hold her hands out and then catch them. It didn't even reach its peak of the arc that she threw it at. She kicked 3 people's ass, then jumped up and grabbed both bags.
I mean, that's pretty badass. But
I did not have time to do a calculation, but I'm wondering how fast that would be. She also appears in that it's either comic book styling or she's moving after
right here.
Yeah.
Send me a message.
Yeah.
I'll just calc it.
This is Liam's thing, dude.
Calc repository right here. I like doing this stuff for some reason.
I will ask, Ben, would it destroy your argument if I could canonically confirm that the weak point of RWBY's universe is inside of Mercury? Would that totally mess up your argument?
I mean, it totally could, but she's still not going to be able to reach him. He's going to be faster than her.
You know, she's kept up with and also bested Morgan and Lilith from Darkstalkers, her galaxy level, if that helps.
That's bullshit.
I wanted to offer some scaling, perhaps some Street Fighter scaling that I'm aware of, that I know of, because I'm also a fan. So we mentioned that Chun-Li probably isn't comparable to like Ryu or Akuma, and I would agree. Like at least like evil Ryu and like Akuma, normal Akuma. But what about E Honda or Hakan?
Oh, I know where you're going with this.
I feel like that's much more reasonable, right? Like they're mid tiers. Okay.
Yeah, and also, you know, Honda has basically the hand version of her lightning legs, so.
So when E Honda and Hakan were just hanging out, like they do, and I posted this image, there was a meteor coming to Earth, and then Hakan picked up or did that like weird super where he like oils up
slip and
like
slides the dude.
Slip and slides the dude, sends E Honda into the atmosphere, and then explodes the meteor with his body.
And then they high five. And look, it doesn't fully scale to E Honda's durability because he's a little busted, but like 99.9% versus 100, right? Like, I think that's fair.
Oh my god, I want to see that like animated. I do too. Like slow
I love Honda's face there. Can we pull it back? Like this dude just got
Grimace.
thrown around by an oiled man and then blasted towards a meteor. And look at his face. He's like, I have no doubt that this meteor
so
is my
focused.
bitch. Like
Technically, that pigeon also has to be like country level or island level or whatever this is, because he hit the bird with his body and it didn't die. So Street Fighter pigeons are also island level. What the fuck is up?
Yeah. I think that could be an argument that everything in this universe is weak.
Oh my god! All right. I think we've covered quite a bit. We can end on that. All right. So everybody here, be thinking about your votes. Eddie, Liam, be thinking about who you are going to vote for. We will get to that at the end of the show. If you're watching, that's our arguments. Let us know who you think should win. Go ahead and vote in the chat right now. If you're watching on mobile, you can vote for Mercury by typing in #1. Or for Chun-Li by typing in #2. All right, but right now, let's go ahead and talk about what is going on.
Death Battle Cast is brought to you by our new show sponsor, BetterHelp Online Therapy. Look, it's no secret. 2020 and the past few months have been super rough. They've been super hard on a lot of people. And that's just on top of normal everyday life, which is pretty trying and taxing. And it could really help to have somebody to talk to. And that's when I started looking into BetterHelp, which I think could be great for me. I mean, if you've heard any of my stories, Lord knows I could definitely use somebody to talk to. And maybe even if that makes you a little bit uncomfortable and maybe you don't want to talk about your feelings, the thing about BetterHelp is you can work on how to achieve your goals and just focus on being the best version of you. That's how BetterHelp can help. BetterHelp is customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist, so you don't have to see anyone on camera if you don't want to. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can start communicating with your therapist in under 48 hours. Join the millions of people who are seeing what therapy is really about. It's always a good time to invest in yourself because you are your greatest asset. Death Battle Cast is sponsored by BetterHelp, and DBC listeners can get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/cast. That's BetterHelp.com/cast. Thanks, BetterHelp.
With Eddie and RWBY. Let's go ahead and talk about it a little bit.
Sure.
Eddie, what's going on with RWBY?
Oh man, a lot of stuff. We've got the finale coming out this weekend. It's man, the response to this volume has been really, really great. I mean, we wrote all of this over a year ago, and we finished and like turned in the last two, because we do them in batches of 2 or 3 episodes at a time. And so the last few episodes of this got turned in almost exactly a year ago. This week, I want to say, or next week. It was pretty soon after the pandemic started and we were all working from home. So it's crazy that, turning all those scripts in and waiting this long and finally getting to some of this stuff is exciting and kind of, terrifying.
Yeah.
And
it's great. It's great that you guys got the logistically easiest part of production done right before everyone had to work from home.
Yes.
I said logistically, Ben, not saying that it's the easiest.
Yeah.
I'm saying
I suppose.
everybody could write from home and get on a Zoom call to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, this volume has been it's been wild seeing reactions to it because so much happens in it. I don't think we can like talk too much about the spoilers or whatnot because some of you might not have caught up, but highly recommend you do. But just generally speaking, like the reactions have been good. You've been feeling good about how the volume's been going.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's always things kind of like looking back that it's like, oh, you see some feedback and you just, you take notes and there are certain things that you totally would adjust if you could do it again. But you also know that there's limited screen time. There's always a budget that you got to aim for. I feel like I'm really happy with where we landed on a lot of things, and I am just, the response has been really great. And the thing that we really wanted was for this season just to feel like a nail biter all the way through, with this kind of like growing sense of like inescapable or unavoidable confrontation. And right when you feel like things are getting a little too easy, everything kind of gets turned on its head. And that's really what we wanted when we were planning all of this out. And in this volume we got a lot more character interactions that we were able to get in volume 7. That was a place where I felt like we probably pushed on the gas a little bit too much in terms of like making things happen. And right, so we were able to even amongst ourselves, before fan feedback came in for volume 7, we were able to kind of see and be like, oh yeah, we really wish we could have gotten more of this. And so it's nice that people have been responding
more
really well
sleep.
To do that.
That's what you meant. Yes.
Yeah. More Councilman
yes.
Sleep.
Chad's character is a fan favorite, obviously.
I get to tell off Jacques. I'm happy.
Well, and speaking of like the nail biter idea, like this season has definitely kind of been, maybe not the absolute culmination, but the show has definitely been building up to this idea of like, the villain, the like main villain isn't the only big problem that the heroes have to deal with. Like there's a lot of gray area with their allies that are people that they think are allies. And a lot of that is sort of culminating in this season. Jumping into that, what was the attitude like, I guess, in the writer's room about writing such complicated like relationships and twists and turns with how a character's like an ally at one second and then a villain the next? Was that difficult?
Oh yeah, I mean, it was super difficult, and some of this stuff is right. Like one thing that was exciting but also challenging about this is we were entering into a lot of the stuff that happens in these 2 volumes, not like on a micro level, but like some of the big beats or ideas or feelings was stuff that was planned out by Monty, Miles, and Carrie years and years ago with the formation like at the outset of this show. So that's always like a little bit difficult, where you're running into like creator headcanon even, right, where it's like, okay, what of this still works based on like all the context that we've got, and what it needs to be challenged, and what can we do with this, and really leaning into like, where is everybody at right now? What are the things they want, and what are they willing to do to get it? And sometimes it's funny because there are sometimes when you're trying to write that it becomes like a real, I don't want to reference anything in volume 8, but I'll reference something that happened at the end of volume 7. One of the things that we had a big problem with, I don't want to say problem, but something that would like just like trying to make it land was the big confrontation between Cinder and Penny and Winter over the Maiden Power, right, in the Atlas military compound with Freya. And it's one of those things where it's like, what does every person in this situation want, and how can we make this work? And we couldn't figure out, right? There was all these ways that we were having problems with it, and it wasn't until you start considering everybody as a person that it starts to make sense. And once we started considering Freya a little bit more, like, what does she want, right? She's in the middle of this, and what does she want? And once we started considering her as her own person with agency, that has goals and things, that like the entire scene shifted, and then she was able to kind of make an impact on the scene and then change everything. So like we try to do that at every step as much as we possibly can. And it's funny because your first draft ideas, you usually get really hung up on like, we want this thing to happen, and trying to like get there, like doesn't always, but like, it's not until later you go through a lot of iterations and you really have to stop and say, what do these characters like actually want? That you're able to kind of find your way through it. And sometimes you're able to come back to that original idea that wasn't working because you're like, oh, we weren't considering this on a character level.
Is there one thing that you really wanted at the very, like, even like an earlier season, that you're really proud of that actually got like implemented in some way, whether it's even like an action scene or whatnot?
I've
What's the thing that
to
you
talk about
really wanted the most?
I've hesitant to talk too much about anything from volume
From 8.
8, yeah,
volume,
but for volume
yeah.
7, the going back to that Cinder, Winter, Penny fight, kind of, when we start a season, we come up with a wish list. Like, here's all the types of things we want. Here are the fights we want, and if they don't work, right? Like, if it's like we can't get there, or it's like production wise it's going to be an issue, or for whatever reason we scrap a lot of those ideas. So very rarely does something from our wish list, like right at the beginning of the season, make it all the way to like final draft. But the like 3-way showdown, like Cinder, Penny, Winter, it was originally going to be a little bit more freeway than it ended up being. But the idea of like Cinder attacking this hospital and all of them having to like defend and fight over this maiden power was something that was like really early, and it was an idea that I had pitched of like, oh, it'd be so cool to see these 3 characters fighting over this near the end. I don't think the maiden power context was there when I first pitched it, but it was more like, I just want to see these 3 characters. And when I pitched it, it was the idea of seeing Cinder stomp through these halls, and so it's cool that specific image still existed in the final draft.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Gaming news guy in the chat wants to know if we'll see Team Sapphire and Ruby.
Oh man, that's
We're
like
keep trying. We'll see what happens.
That's like spoiler question for both shows.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. Where does Grim campaign go? So
I didn't even think about that. If any of us die in Grim campaign, that rules out that we could ever appear unless it was a flashback. Okay.
Yeah, flashback.
Yeah. How is that even gonna work? Yeah. That would be very tricky to try to like maneuver both of those like stories together.
No, we real talk. There's no like, I don't think there are any official plans, but we have joked about it because technically Grim campaign is canon because we are learning more about the world and stuff, and these characters I guess do exist in the world.
Yeah.
But yeah,
and we haven't done anything that's like stomped, right? Because ultimately, I like creatively, I want you guys to be able to do what you want to do with it. So I don't want to jump in too hard to be like, you cannot choose this thing because it will break future plans, right? But so far we haven't tread close to that, right? So that's been really fun and a challenge.
It's interesting.
Time.
Like, what if something happens that like changes the whole history of Remnant? It's like, how does that balance with what's already been established? That could be interesting. I mean, it takes place like ages beforehand, right?
Not ages.
It's like a couple of years. We kind of pinpoint
so things
it.
can always find a way back if they need to.
It's like the Star Wars novels, basically.
Yeah.
But what's really interesting is that like the stuff like that's like big news for like the world of Remnant is stuff that Eddy put out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are certain items that are doing some things in this show that I was like, whoa, like as a RWBY fan, like I was like, that's crazy that these exist, like, and that means they exist somewhere now, right? Like, so like you're the one who does all the crazy world stuff, man. Like, we're just like trying to get through it and have a bunch of fun.
Yeah. So once one of those things shows up in the actual show, like that's when things are going to start getting rolling.
Can you scale between both shows? Can you do power scaling between both shows?
No, Liam, stop. All right, actually, I do want to real quick throw it over to you, Liam.
Yes.
So Lex versus Doom is coming up pretty soon.
It sure
the next Death Battle episode. Previews are going to be up next week, and then the episode will be up the following week. This is Liam's first episode of directing. Liam, what was it like to direct?
We should probably start like working on the episode, right? Just kidding.
Oh, you were supposed to get that done like like a month ago, I think.
Liam, oh my god.
Well, again, guys, this was Liam's first and last time directing, so
it was a blast. It was different than what I was expecting. I was like worried, like, like taking over as directing, I'd be like, oh, assuming like all of this responsibility and all of these different tasks and stuff like that, and like this kind of like massive endeavor. But that's not really the case. I mean, it kind of is, because there was like, at the end of the day, I'm the decision maker on an episode. So like there'll be a point where it's like, oh, I like this. I like this idea, this direction, but I also like this direction. And before, as a writer, I'd be like, Ben, what do you think? But now it was like, nope, Liam, what do I think? So that was really cool. And what it really is like, it's just like kind of like guiding everybody that's doing their own thing. Like the system that we have like works really well, and like everybody's contributions are everyone's very self-sufficient in what they're doing. So I, for a lot of it, could just kind of sit back and be like, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It wasn't like it was very interesting in that regard, and I still got a hand in like kind of determining the like artistic vision of the episode, and seeing how it like conveys the story of both characters. I think that was a really big thing that we talked about, especially in the writing process with Lousy, because Lousy is writing. It was just a lot of fun. It was a blast.
Yeah, and that was the thing that really stood out as well when Josh directed a few episodes last year. He's directing a few episodes this year as well. The team just knows what they're doing, and it's really cool how not even just like the writing team, the animating team, the effects team, etc. Like the whole team is just solid. Like, we got this down, and it's really cool. Just watching them because I have the exact same sort of moments as you, where they'll be like, oh, we got the shot to review, and I'll go through it and be like, yes, that's all my feedback.
I don't need to know how to do what each individual person does. I need to be able to describe to them specifically what I want. I think that's the big thing with like directing, is like being able to articulate what your vision is, and
communication, understanding, that kind of thing.
Communication is the big thing, and like when we were reviewing the fight animation, like I've seen every episode of Death Battle, I've seen every fight animation, obviously, but when we were doing it, I was like, right, I have to like think about this in a completely different way, like, oh, this kick should be like, moved up in the frame, because that'll give, more, like, you'll see more of the character, and you'll see more of the impact or stuff like that. Stuff I never really thought about before, in as much detail, but that detail really matters. And keeping like that entire like idea of the fight in my head, it's tricky. It's tough, because you're reviewing each piece like piecemeal, but then you also have to keep an idea of like the big picture, how it all fits together, so that it's a cohesive whole. So it's kind of like a weird juggling act, but it's not as daunting as I thought it would be. I was never intimidated, but I was relieved by like how smooth and how smooth the process was, and how like willing everyone was to like teach me at like, because like this is my first time directing, so everyone that I talked to, like, I was learning from them about what the process was, about what my job was, by interacting with them. So everyone, including you, were very gracious in helping me through that process. Very exciting.
It's awesome.
I'm glad the process is so smooth now, because when you've done the show for as long as we have, we sure have learned from a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, there was like, for a good chunk of that time, it was like 2 of us working on the entire thing. So
that's true.
When you have a team of people who knows what they're doing, like things go so much smoother. It's so much better.
For sure.
All right, but we need to get to the vote. So let's get to the community death battle.
I win and get wrecked.
All right. As always, we're going to start this off with you all. So let's go ahead and bring up the responses that you posted on Twitter for Mercury Black and Chun-Li.
This one comes from Connor Aycock, who says, Mercury has the edge in every category. Scaled to the likes of Weiss and Yang, staggering the Atlas Colossus. His durability and striking strength overshadows Chun-Li smashing a tank. smashing a tank, please, bud. Dodging gunfires is nothing when Mercury and Emerald can dodge natural lightning. He's also going in on that lightning speed. All right.
Hell yeah, man. Mercury's got this, bro.
Bringing up the Colossus is a good one. Good reference that I forgot to bring up. Yeah.
I forgot about that one too. Let's go ahead and bring up the answer for Chun-Li that obviously isn't as good.
Cami Nunez says, my RWBY fangirl instincts tell me Mercury, but I know that Chun-Li has it. See?
Aw.
Rational. Mercury has the range advantage with his wind dust bullets, but that's all he has. Chun-Li has better strength, endurance, reflexes, speed, and experience. Plus, she's fought stronger people and won. Vega. She's even saying Vega, not even like Morgan from Darkstalkers. Let's go.
Not even Morgan from Darkstalkers.
Morgan thing, that can't be right. Because it just doesn't make sense for her to be able to keep up with somebody like that. But maybe when they're crossing dimensions, things change.
That was actually
that's also, something that could
Morgan
be
was on Earth. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, like Morgan could change. But either way, hey, that's probably more likely because she's like a magic person. But either way, all right.
The
so
first
thank you
kick
for
she dodged
posting.
with her bat ability, so she has it.
Thank you
Well, but actually,
for leaving those answers. Let's go ahead and bring up
Everyone
the
can
poll
destroy a
from
planet.
Twitter and see what you guys had to say. This will be our first vote of 4.
Damn.
All right, so Twitter
Oh,
coming
All
in pretty strong with Chun-Li there, Ben.
Okay, but that's just one vote. That's just one vote. That is
Sure.
just one vote. Listen, we
I
still
mean, it
got
seems like a
you
lot of
guys.
votes.
Okay, that's one vote for one cumulative vote. You guys get one more vote.
Absolutely
which we'll
counts
get
as
to.
one.
But all right, Liam, who are you voting for?
Chun-Li.
Why, man?
Yeah, that's right. That's right, Liam.
Yeah.
No, you gotta
Eddie.
go backwards. You gotta learn. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Hang on. Oh, I can do it. All right. Never
Oh,
mind.
am I back?
We were
Whatever. It's
Are we gonna do it or not?
it's done. We're never gonna get it.
Eddie, you got my back, right? You're voting.
Man,
Who are you voting for?
I'm torn here because I've got this this tie to this series. It is hard to argue with the comic presentation of punching a hole through the universe. Very very hard to argue with that with a straight face. But I will say that RWBY pays my bills, and I'll be a sellout. And I'll give Mercury
you son
the
of a
vote.
bitch!
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. That counts.
We're corrupt.
Conflict of
I'll own it.
interest.
Hey, y'all
This
brought me
is
on
some
here.
shit, Eddie.
This was the shenanigans, y'all. This is the environment y'all created.
Okay. With this new way of voting, we do have the potential for a tie. We do have a tie-breaking option. But we'll see. We'll see how this goes. We got one more vote based on what you guys voted in the live poll. So let's go ahead and bring that up. See what it is.
That's sort of what that's sort of what I
Chun-Li wins
figured.
64 to 36%.
That's sort of what I figured would happen. So I had to give Mercury a little bit of
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Now,
right.
if I'm being honest, I kind of vote for Chun-Li too. So
Hold on, actually,
no.
what we're getting to, I forgot to say this. You keep talking for a second, and then I'll bring it up. My most compelling piece of evidence. I never
Why did you not
Brian.
bring up the most
Yeah,
compelling
why would you
piece
not?
of evidence?
Well, because I felt it was fighting real dirty, but now that it's over, all right.
What is it? Okay.
Said it to Brian.
Breaking the universe isn't
yeah.
fighting
There's not
dirty.
already.
No, that just happened. You'll see what. All right, whenever you got it, Brian, go ahead and bring it up.
All right.
Is
Is this gonna be like a-
Eddie,
another
thanks for being a
excited
corporate
here.
shill and stabbing me in the back. I really
Is this
appreciate
gonna be
that.
another like comic panel of her just like disintegrating Mercury with a kick?
Oh, God damn it. That's not fair.
Oh.
That's not fair.
Well,
Cheap
light
shot.
theme.
Oh.
Wait. You use light theme Slack?
Yeah, I do.
I think that's a negative point right there.
Yeah, I get a point. Okay, so
No,
Liam, are you switching your vote?
No, realistically, I think it was hard to argue with that comic evidence that Chad presented.
Dude, yeah, comics are wild, man. Anytime,
Comics are
listen,
wild.
especially if properties have been around for a while, or also like properties that got like an animated TV show in like the 90s. Huh. You find some
Oh, yeah.
shit, man. Like,
I would say we
All
would have
right.
had a lot more scaling opportunities after this these crossover RWBY comics came out.
I know, right?
We'll revisit this after they've hung out with the Justice League, and Mercury punches kicks Superman in the face, and it's like, well, I guess he can blow up a universe now, completely upscale that RWBY universe. All right. So keep an eye out for our next community death battle. It will be on the Death Battle Twitter. Although we are going to be trying something different next week. So as if you've been watching Death Battle Cast the past couple of weeks, you know that we've been trying things different for a little while now with this expanding community death battle and whatnot, which means we have not done a Q&A session yet for any of our previous death battle episodes or at all this year. So next week we're actually going to be dedicating next week's Death Battle Cast to a Q&A session, like a bulk one. Yoda versus King Mickey, Shadow versus Ryuko, Death Battle Season 8, 10-year anniversary just in general. So let us know what you want us to talk about on Twitter. You can use hashtag Death Battle Cast to send us a question, and we will answer it right here on the Death Battle Cast live Wednesday at noon Central Time. And then we will get right back into our community death battles as per usual. Eddie, thank you so much for joining us. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see what happens in RWBY. I mean, it's gonna be really crazy. It's gonna be good. Everybody check it out. Liam,
Yes.
can't wait to see everybody get mad at your episode. It'll be great.
Yes. Yes. I want to inspire rage. That's
He lives for it. He lives for it.
I feed off of it like some kind of dark.
That's the way to live.
Hulu god.
Yeah.
That's why
I also
you're
want to
here.
shout out. I also want to shout out RWBY the Grim campaign, which is going to continue on every Monday for. I'm not trying to be vague because I don't
For a
wanna-
bit.
For a bit, I just don't even know what episode we're on and how much we're recording right now. But yeah, it's going to continue on past RWBY first members. It's our D&D show set in the world of Remnant, and we
So
have
much
a
fun.
blast. We have a blast with it every single week. It's so fun.
We had the most intense session this week. We literally afterwards we were all just like exhausted and like in a good way. It was like we were all just like, oh, that was a lot.
Those are the best. Those are the best D&D sessions though, because you remember those.
Yeah.
So even when you like screw up hard and your plan naturally just falls apart,
Dude,
you
don't get
remember
me
it
started.
forever.
My one. When I get a one, it's ooh. It really is at the most inopportune times, and Eddie loves it.
I do.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, this is a lot of fun. Stay tuned. Be sure to check out the RWBY season finale this weekend, and then Lex Luthor versus Dr. Doom a week later. It's going to be awesome. And as always, be kind to others, be kind to yourself, be awesome. We'll see you all next week.
Achievement Hunter's up next. Bye.
Yo.